Let's dive into the world of fashion and lifestyle to discuss the differences and similarities between quiet luxury and the old money aesthetic. Now, if this is something you've been trying to incorporate into your own wardrobe, you're probably going to enjoy my other episode that's all about Sofia Richie's personal style and how you can recreate it for yourself. So don't forget to check that one out. It's linked up in the cards. But in the meantime, what is quiet luxury and what's the difference between that and old money? Some would say that the quiet luxury trend is a rebranding of the term minimalist, but I still think that the quiet luxury trend is slightly different because it emphasizes more luxury brands that are not logo heavy. When many people think about quiet luxury, they envision understated sophistication and elegance. Typically, someone with a quiet luxury wardrobe cares more about the quality of a piece than a quantity. This type of style is more timeless and it doesn't lean into fast fashion trends. People who appreciate quiet luxury typically are not going to wear pieces that are covered in noticeable prints or in large logos. Of course, this doesn't mean that somebody that leans towards a quiet luxury style doesn't have pieces like a monogrammed Louis Vuitton bag. That still might be something in their closet, but it's something that is seen on a more rare occasion. When talking about quiet luxury brands, one that comes to mind for many people is the Row, which was created by Mary-Kate and Ashley. I'm talking about the Row in terms of quiet luxury instead of old money style because the Row in itself is a relatively new brand, and so I don't feel like it fits into that old money style. It's not label heavy, and unless you're very familiar with a collection from the Row, you probably wouldn't recognize these pieces on the street. But the term old money is more so synonymous with heritage and history. Old money typically refers to long lineages of wealthy families. Their style can encompass a variety of high-end designer pieces that are vintage, or family heirlooms that have been passed along for generations. There's an air of exclusivity when it comes to old money style and fashion. The pieces that true old money wears might not be as available to the general public. Such brands could include Massimo Dutti, Brunello Couchenelli, Ralph Lauren Purple, Ralph Lauren Collection, or Loro Piana. Although these styles are often simple in design, there is a focus on craftsmanship, durability, and typically they will stay within a neutral color palette. As I mentioned, these types of brands and this type of style is meant to be exclusionary. It's not supposed to be something that the general public has access to. In fact, one of my friends who is technically new money, who is a self-made millionaire, was sharing with me that he wears a specific watch to networking events. And the watch is a little known but very expensive brand. And if somebody notices that he's wearing the watch or compliments him on the watch, he is more likely to connect with that person in a social setting, get to know them, or at least make a note of them in his mind. One way to categorize or think about the differences between quiet luxury and the old money aesthetic is that quiet luxury is truly fashion or a style, and the old money aesthetic is actually connected to and referring to a lifestyle. For example, when you go on sites like Pinterest and search old money aesthetic or old money style, you'll often find outfits that fashion influencers have created and put together that look like you could wear them to an equestrian event, sailing, or tennis. These fashion influencers, however, wear these outfits in their normal day-to-day lives. Now, for someone who is truly quote-unquote old money, that could be a tell or a giveaway that somebody is not truly old money if they are wearing these types of outfits in inappropriate settings. Those who are truly old money would only wear their tennis outfits on the tennis court, as an example, and they wouldn't wear them around town as a fashion aesthetic. Since true old money incorporates heritage and history from long family lines of wealth, it can look a little bit different than quiet luxury. For example, you might take a look at the royal family and their royal weddings or events, and they will be adorned in jewels and regalia. Now, these looks are quite loud. They're not quiet luxury, but that's because these pieces have been passed down from generation to generation, and they're worn in the appropriate setting. Although a king or a queen probably isn't going to wear their crown in everyday life, it is normal and still old money for them to show up dripping in millions of dollars worth of jewels. Typically, when people think about old money aesthetic or quiet luxury, they're associating neutral color palettes to those two different aesthetics. But what's important to remember is that old money aesthetic can look very different from country to country. In the US, we might associate it with neutrals, but in other countries, there can be a great history and culture and heritage behind bright, bold, and vivid colors. So you really can't limit the old money aesthetic to neutral color palettes because that's simply not true around the world. Generally speaking, whether you're talking about quiet luxury or old money, there is more of an emphasis on quality that I've mentioned. So typically you will be looking for pieces that are made of natural fabrics like linen, cashmere, cotton, or silk. These styles are typically a little bit more modest, and almost always they have a tailored look to them. Accessories can be a defining aspect for both quiet luxury and for old money. When we look at quiet luxury accessories, typically they are more minimal and they are smaller pieces. So you might see delicate necklaces, earrings, or rings. You'll almost always find a person with old money with a designer handbag, although some people with old money prefer to buy dupes because they don't feel like it's a worthwhile purchase for their closet. They think it's rather silly. So there are some with old money who disagree and don't need that designer handbag, and they would much rather purchase a dupe. But when it comes to other accessories for old money, especially when we're talking about royal families or those who go back for many, many generations or hundreds of years, you also might see them wearing some sort of family jewels that have been passed down that are typically borrowed, and essentially the family collectively owns them. Lifestyle is also connected to both of these aesthetics. Somebody who cares about quiet luxury might not be someone who wants to draw attention to themselves. That could be one of the reasons that they are drawn to that style. They don't always want to go out and create a scene in public, and they just want to preserve their private lifestyle. On the other hand, people who are truly old money, sometimes they are essentially public figures and they're born into a role, so they have to be seen in public. They could be at balls, they could be at charity galas, they could be at official events for their state or for their country. So by nature of birth, they may have to be in the public eye a little bit more. Something else I should mention is the idea of recession core, and we're hearing more and more about that. It's interesting that there are often connections between fashion and the economy, and when the economy experiences a recession or a depression, oftentimes people will be really picky about what pieces that they're purchasing. They want to buy pieces that they can wear again and again and again, and pieces that are going to last, and they're going to lean more away from fast fashion. Personally, that is something that I love, that's a byproduct of the quiet luxury trend. I'm not perfect, but I thrift probably about 99% of everything that I wear. Even this shirt is thrifted. So I love that we're seeing that push towards sustainability. Quiet luxury and the old money aesthetic are things that are very similar. And I say old money aesthetic because those who are truly old money are born into that. You can't truly adopt the old money look if you haven't been brought up in that lifestyle, and that's okay. And at the end of the day, I think that fashion is fashion. So If you love this type of style and this is something you want to recreate for yourself, go for it. If you're somebody who just wants some pieces in your wardrobe to look like quiet luxury or old money, fashion is an expression of yourself, and honestly, I believe you should have so much fun with it. Personally, I love the quiet luxury trend just because it's timeless. I don't have to keep up with trends, and when I travel, it's so much easier to pack because the pieces in my wardrobe are versatile and they can mix and match quite easily. In fact, I've created some other episodes about capsule wardrobes that you should check out right here. So let me know in the comments, what aesthetic do you lean more towards? Quiet luxury, old money, or neither? I'd love to hear your thoughts.